Hey everybody, this is Herschel Furon from High School Top 200. This preseason preview of the number 6 ranking in the top 25. I have St. Paul's Collegiate. St. Paul's Collegiate, if those that don't know, it's in Hamilton, and they are on their way back. And I say back, and they're on their way back to what they used to be when I was at school. They were a force in the country. They even won a national championship. I think was in 2000, I think, or yeah, something like that, around that area. And so this team is actually, this school has actually done really good and being able to progress in terms of making their players better at their lower levels, and then they're just going up and filling out into their first 15. St. Paul's Collegiate is had a great year last year. I think that they maybe slipped in a few games that they could have won, and I think with a young team like what they had, with the young team that they had, and what they're going to do this year, I think that they're going to actually have a better year this year than what they did last year. They have lost some players. They have lost some key players that I think would have been really beneficial to them this year. But I still think that they have a good enough team to make it through. Now, their main force is going to be within their front row. I have listed them as the best front row in the country. I still think that. I mean, people have told me otherwise, but I was thinking, well, that's what you think. This is what I think. And George Dyer and Sam Cooper and Ashton Finau will probably, as a combination, probably one of the best. I think the best in the country. George Dyer is probably one of the best props in the country. Like I said, they had to get bigger, and they've done that. Sam Cooper was the same. He had to get bigger. Their work rate was fine. There was nothing wrong with the work rate, but I think the physical side of them wasn't there. They just weren't as big as other props and hookers that they were. Ashton Finau was good, and he was big enough and he was strong enough, but his technique wasn't up to scratch like Sam and George's was. So they had opposite sides of what they had to work on, and I think they did it over last year and figured out where they lacked, and then they fixed it up, and that's what I think. That's why I think that they're the best in the country right now. They've had 2 locks leave that were really good, and Josh and Sam, and so I think they went out and they got Brigham Moakiola, who was at Hamilton Boys, and Hamilton Boys are stacked with locks, so I think he made the right move in moving over, because now he gets a shot to be the top lock at a school and being able to make sure that he makes himself accountable to what he is now, and he can prove with time on the field that he is a number 1 lock. Jock Yardley is back, and I think he'll be a number 7. He's not big. You'd think that he would probably be a hooker, but he's so fast and so quick. He would probably be the open side. Liam Allen is more of a 6, but I think he might become an 8. Especially if he's been in the gym over the summer. I think that he'll be a pretty good 8 coming through this year. Ferg Burke is probably one of their main players along with George. Ferg at first 5 has been there since he was year 11, so there's no reason this year, no kind of excuses this year. He's going to have to really produce, and I think he will. I think he's had 2 good halfbacks with Connor there last year, and now he's got Luke Donaldson. And Luke Donaldson, I think, is up to that standard where he can now handle it at that level. I think they're going to be a really good combination that's going to be quick. I think because both of them make really good decisions at a fast pace, and so if the forward pack are moving quick, the backline will be able to move at pace with them because of those 2. Tao Salvao is coming back at second 5, and Valence Crosby Te Whare is going to be, who was, and Valence, I always thought he was, I always thought he was a midfielder. They played him on the wing last year. I mean, he was year 11. They played him on the wing last year, and so I can kind of understand that. But because he's so big and solid, and he's really fast as well, I think he can handle a lot more physicality within those tight situations. So I think if he gets caught in a tight situation at centre, I think that he'll be able. He's physical enough and explosive enough to even break sort of through the tackles and get an arm out and then be able to hand it off to a winger or back inside to Tau, who would be backing up. And so I think that he's one of those kind of guys that can do those kind of things, and he's got a passing game good enough to be able to link up with his winger, things like that. Defense-wise, he's going to be pretty strong too. Tau is the same. They'll probably have to maybe not be so over valiant and sort of moving up, but actually have some patience and not be so quick to put in a hit. I'm one of those people that when you play defense, you don't play out of your line, you don't play too rogue and going by yourself and trying to, I guess, impress the crowd with a hit. You go in with, organization, because if you come out of your line, somebody has to clog up that gap, and if they're not there, and then they end up on a mismatch, and because you've missed a shot, it's like those kind of things. So I think that'll probably be the only thing that I'll probably need to work on in the midfield, is being obedient to what structure they have on defense. Ferg will actually keep them in line with that as well. They've got another guy, Te Paia Cook-Savage from up north, who is a halfback, but I can also see him, because of his touch background that he has, I can see him being a fullback. He's not very big because he's the size of a halfback, but his nippiness around the field and his return game is going to be real sharp, and so I think that he'll be more of a asset being on the field at fullback. I don't think there's a need to have two really good halfbacks and one has to sit on the bench just out of pure numbers. And I think that he has a good enough kicking game to maybe be down at the back at fullback. They're going to have a good, strong team. I picked St. Paul's to win the CNI competition as well. Their roadblocks are going to be when they start playing, or their real tests are going to be at the beginning of the year. Playing in sort of the, Chiefs competition, where they start playing Rotorua boys in Tauranga, and those games will be good because it's going to test them to see if they are at that level and to test them if they can handle it. If they can handle Rotorua boys and if they can handle Tauranga boys and Hamilton, or if they match up with St. John's, who's another strong school this year too, and if they can prove themselves, then you can actually see that they have a team that's worth a number 6 ranking in the country. I believe that they are. I believe that they can handle those kind of teams. Hamilton boys may be a bit out of their reach, but in this day and age, anyone can sort of beat anyone on the day, and we've seen that before over the last 3-4 years that we've been top 200. So I see St. Paul's as number 6 team in the country in the preseason. Things could change because it's just preseason, but that's all I have. That's my preview of the preseason for the 6th rank St. Paul's Collegiate. Peace.